All right. Prop the mic, presented by Props.cash. It's Monday, October 30th, and we'd like to welcome you all to the first dual sport podcast in the history of PTM, tackling NFL and NBA on the same day. Are you ready for this, Dave? Are you prepared?
I am. Actually, today is the sports equinox. There's NFL, NBA, NHL, and MLB all today. We're not ready. We're not ready to cover all four. Maybe next year at this time. God forbid. You don't want hockey advice from us. I'll tell you that much.
That's for sure.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm ready. I'm ready to cover this. I think we were just going to do the NFL, but like we're really enjoying the analysis for NBA so far, and we didn't want to lose the momentum. So we'll get a few picks out today for that as well.
Yeah, looking forward to it. The model's starting to shape up. We got almost a week's worth of data in there, so we got some stuff starting to pop out. So I'm getting excited for to get the data model built up here. Like to see how successful it is.
All right, you ready to jump into start with NFL?
Yeah, let's do NFL first.
All right, cool. All right, so we got the Monday Night Football Raiders at the Lions. Raiders are 3-4 on the season. It's hard to really read how good of a team the Raiders are because I feel like every other game they have Garoppolo and then a backup, Garoppolo backup. Yeah. So I think he's playing tonight from what I've read. The Lions are 5-2 on the season. They're looking pretty good. And Lions are -7 at home. Total is 47. Tell me what you're liking from a matchup standpoint.
All right, matchup. The one that really, the only one that popped out on our model here was the Vegas passing game. Seems to be the best matchup. If you start looking at the how the lines are playing, Vegas's offensive line has the 11th best pass block win rate. Detroit's defense 8th worst pass rush win rate. So I think that's one spot we can look at here. Overs in the Vegas passing game. You also have some nice data here in terms of what wide receivers have done against Vegas. Number one in yards before catch. This is so I wanted to look over the last 4 weeks. We're starting to get a big data sample, and I wanted to see how teams have done because it's getting to be a while ago now, and there's injuries and whatnot. So over the last 4 weeks, Detroit's defense has allowed the most yards before catch to wide receivers, the most wide receiver targets, 4th most yards per reception, the most red zone targets, and that's by a decent amount, and the most receptions of 10+ yards. So lots of different stuff we can look to target here. I found one that seems like pretty straightforward and simple. I liked Jakobi Meyers over 4.5 receptions. It's a little juicy at -140, but he's cleared this in 5 of 6. Pulling up that the screen. There we go.
Okay, get the right sport up.
Yeah.
That was actually the first thing that I wrote down. So I love that we're both on that one. You said receptions, right? Not receiving yards?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's get that up. Jakobi Meyers. Yeah, I mean, I see a lot of people on Devontae Adams. But it does seem like Jakobi Meyers has been the more consistent of the two receivers, and regardless of who the quarterback is. So I think that's a great play, right? 4.5 receptions, -140 on DraftKings, as high as -155 on other books. So it seems nice.
Nice. That looked good. Then the other one I liked was so Hunter Renfrow, not as big a part of the offense, but he does have a nice upward target trend going on. His line's only you have to click to receiving yards. It's only 8.5.
Yeah, I saw that. I was looking at him as well. I was looking at him, and there was somebody else. I was also looking at Austin Hooper, because they both have good hit rates. But I was a little nervous about the targets. Only 3 targets last week, 0 the week before, 2 the week before that.
Yeah. But Hooper's 9 yards. Hooper's the same way. He's like, he's getting like 2 targets every week. That's about it. So this one's a little bit, there's not as much volume there, so it's a little bit riskier, I think. But only 8.5 receiving yards, could get that on, 1 catch. I think it's in a decent spot, 4 of 6 this season in a good game for could be some good passing overs here. So
yeah. Definitely. This is not his longest line, but I was just saying that would be a bad deal. 16.5 longest, 9.5, 8.5 total. Sounds like Pacheco getting negative yards. But if you just look, his longest reception in 3 of the last 5 games was 10, 12, and 9. So like you said, 1 catch, you might get there. Okay. I like that. That's good. What else do you have on the Raiders side?
The Raiders, that's all I had on the Raiders side.
Okay. What about Jimmy G? Anything on Jimmy G?
I didn't. I was looking, Detroit gives up a lot of attempts. They are playing at home. Like, I have a feeling Vegas should be, maybe playing from behind. So I was looking at it. I mean, just look at all that red though. I don't know. I just couldn't find anything on Jimmy for the angles that I was kind of approaching it with. But what do you got?
Yeah, I think this line is artificially inflated because of the matchup, right? If you look at other quarterbacks against Detroit, right, you got some monster games in there with Lamar putting up 357, Geno putting up 328, but then you also got like Baker Mayfield at 206 and Bryce Young 247, Jordan Love 246. So 252 passing yards seems like a lot for Jimmy G, right? So
it does.
Even though the matchup is great, I just feel like that might be a little too high. I also was looking at the pass attempts at 35.5, right? That was the number that we played for Mahomes yesterday.
Yeah.
Right? That just seems like too much for him. If you look across the last 3 years, 2.5 years, he's only cleared this in, 7 out of 34 games. Understanding it's a different environment, but I wouldn't say like he's any better now than he was back when he was on San Fran. And he's battling some sort of injuries. I mean, obviously he's been off for like 2 weeks now, but I don't know. That seems like an underplay too. So I would go under on either of those. Which one do you think? Do you like better, the pass attempts or the yards?
I was leaning the pass attempts. I it's kind of contradicting what I just said. Like, the best matchup seems to be overs in the Vegas passing game, and now we're fading Jimmy G. It's kind of why I laid off it, just with that that discrepancy there. But I mean, looking at the trend there, it does look pretty good.
You had a play on Hunter Renfrow to basically get 1 or 2 catches, and you had a play on Jakobi Meyers to get 5 catches. Okay, so that accounts for 7, right? Yeah. Maybe 7 catches, maybe 10 attempts. Like where are the other 26 coming from? Like I don't see it. So under 35.5. Let's stop being indifferent about this and let's just play it.
All right.
All right.
Yep.
Cool.
Yes.
What about on the Detroit side? You got anything?
Yeah. So the Detroit's offensive line has the 9th best pass block win rate. Vegas's defense 14th worst pass rush win rate. So it seems like it's a little bit in favor of Detroit here, in terms of their passing game. But if you look at what Vegas's defense has done over the last 4 weeks, now they weren't playing against like some all-pro quarterbacks there, but they've had the second lowest quarterback rating over the last 4 weeks, and that includes holding Justin Herbert to 167 yards.
Right.
Herbert played his usual 63 or so snaps in that game. He went 13 for 24 for 167 yards. His line pregame was 292.5. So I like that, despite the fact that then they went on and played, Jordan Love and Mac Jones and the Bears. So they've also
the Division II quarterback Bears.
Yes,
that guy was hard to watch last night.
Yeah, it was. They've allowed the 4th fewest yards per attempt, 2nd fewest air yards per attempt, 2nd fewest completions of 10+ yards, the fewest completions of 20+ yards. Now, some of that is a product of the game plan of these lesser quarterbacks going out there. Yeah. But I think this is looking like a spot where maybe we could go under on Jared Goff, 266.5. I wanted to talk it over with you and see what you thought. I was looking at either the yards, 266.5, or the completions, 23.5.
I like the yards.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think too. I mean, it's a little scary because he just surpassed this in each of the last 2 games, but I don't know. I wrote down the yards at 264.5, so if we can get a 266.5, that's even better. Like you said, I mean, just only 2 of 7 quarterbacks have surpassed their line this year against Las Vegas, and only 1 quarterback has had more than 235 yards, right? And that was Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Right, who's like not in the same league as Jared Goff. So I think it's a good play. I think both of them are good plays, but I would probably stick with the yards for this one.
Yeah, I think if you look at Goff's splits, like if you look at his Monday and other splits, like when he's not playing on Sunday, it's not great. I think he's only gone over in click on Monday.
Yeah, that was
if you go to other, there's a few Thursday night games in there. Like yeah. So
I also think about game script too. The Lions are -7 in this game, 7.5. So there's kind of an assumption that they'll get out to an early lead and then probably be handing off to Gibbs most of the game. So I think that's probably a good play, even just that fits with the game script.
Yeah. Nice.
All right.
Cool. Like we're on the same page there.
What else?
I just have one other. I liked what I saw for tight ends against Vegas. 3rd most yards after catch over the last 4 weeks, the most yards after contact over the last 4 weeks. So I think we can look at LaPorta here, over 44.5 receiving yards, -110 on FanDuel. He's cleared that in 5 of his last 6 games, averaging 56.5 receiving yards per game over his last 6. I think this shapes up well. I know we just talking about fading Goff, but this is a a favorite target of his. I could see him cashing and everyone else kind of, staying under.
Yeah, definitely. I had LaPorta as well, but I kind of went a different angle. I went with a tight end parlay. So I went with Michael Meyer. Am I saying that right? Is it Meyer? Like, isn't that the Halloween guy? The
Michael Myers. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people out there like putting up some Halloween memes around him.
There you go.
But yeah, I like him for 2 receptions. Hold on, let me get my filters off here. And get the home filter right. So in the last 3 weeks, he's had 2 receptions. So I like that. Paired with LaPorta to get 4 receptions. LaPorta's had 4 receptions.
Yeah, I like bringing him down to 4.
Yeah. So you put those 2 together, you get that for plus 100. So I thought that was a nice approach as well.
I like that.
All right. So now we got Jimmy G accounting for 5 to Jakobi, 2 to Meyer, and maybe 2 to Renfrow.
And that's a wrap.
That's a wrap. That's all he's getting this whole game. Perfect. All right, so 2 plays on LaPorta. I like that. You got the over the yards, and then this parlay with Meyer as well.
Yeah, nice.
All right, cool.
I like that our heads were in the same spot for a few of these. That's always
that either ends up really well or really poorly. We'll find out. All right, cool. Anything else in this game?
Nope, that's all I got.
All right, I just want to throw one out on the defensive side.
Ooh,
because we were so successful in our first defensive play a couple weeks back.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going with one of the best defensive players in the league, one of the most fun guys to watch. I like Maxx Crosby for a sack tonight. That guy's an absolute beast.
He is.
Look at this, what he's done this year. He's had a sack or a half a sack in every game, but the game against Buffalo in week 2.
Mm-hmm.
So you can get this, I think, for half a sack on FanDuel at minus 160. So if he does record half a sack, that will be a push. Or what I like better is you can go for 0.75 sacks, which basically means if he gets half a sack, you lose. But if he gets a full sack, you win. And you can get that for minus 130 on DK. So I think he's going to get a sack tonight. This is just like prime time. Maxx Crosby. Goff, I just got sacked 5 times last game against Baltimore. He's kind of middle of the pack. I was looking at the sack leaders. He's got about 15 sacks this year, which kind of puts him right in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to this. I was looking at this chart. Sam Howell has been sacked 41 times this year. That poor guy is just getting destroyed.
I did hear that.
He's like the new Daniel Jones. That poor guy. So if Maxx Crosby plays Sam Howell, we're definitely playing Max in that one. But I like him in this one to get a sack on Goff. Minus 130 on DK. Good.
Nice. Yeah, I like that. He's love watching that guy.
Yeah, he's got so much energy. Love the way he plays.
Yeah.
All right. Move from the field to the court.
Right. Let's do it.
11 NBA games tonight. We're going to cover 2. We're trying to stick with mostly with the televised games, just so if you guys, even if you don't have League Pass, you'll be able to watch these games on NBA TV or certainly if they're on TNT or ESPN, we'll try to stick with those. Give us some feedback though. If that's something you want us to continue to do, we'll do that. If not, we'll just find the boring games that Tom likes to find. All right, so we got 2 games tonight that are on NBA TV. The first is the earlier game, Warriors at Pelicans. Warriors are 2-1, going up against the Pels 2-0. Pels are -4 in this game. Total is 226. Warriors are coming off of a pretty exciting game against the Rockets last night, where Steph. Did you see that play where Steph Curry was just dancing around?
No, I didn't say.
What's his name? Brooks. Dylan Brooks is now on the Rockets, right? He was just like, he made him look so silly, and then just drained a 3. Go watch that one. It's a fun one. But I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if news comes out that like the Warriors sit half their team, because this is the type of spot where they usually do. But it does look like props have come out for at least for Curry, right? Did you see any other props?
Wiggins, Looney, and Clay all have come out.
Okay, all right. So maybe that was like the last year trend, and they're actually going to play this year. So, all right, tell us what you're liking from a matchup standpoint in this game.
So we didn't look too much just because we did our research before. A lot like you just mentioned for this game and the other game we're going to do. Not a ton out for the Warriors or the Lakers yet, but also not in terms of matchups, also not the best. So I think we picked some good spots and the props that were available kind of matched up to what was popping off here. So let's start with CJ McCollum. So you have a nice matchup for point guards. Against the Warriors here. And I don't typically think of CJ as a point guard. He's like a classic, especially coming from his Portland days, like a classic shooting guard. But he's played 97% of his minutes at point this season. Last season, he played like 70% at point, 30% at shooting guard. So in this New Orleans offense, he is the point guard. So that's where we're looking at him here. You have a nice comp. He's got a very strong mid-range game, right? It's not so much at three, not so much from at the rim. Very similar to De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox can get to the rim a little bit more, but threes are not as big of a part of the game. So good comp there. De'Aaron Fox had 39 points against Golden State. The only other point guard to play Golden State so far was Van Vliet, whose game is very different. He's all threes, right? There's no rim game. There's no short mid-range. Yeah. He only had 8 points in that game last night. So I think Fox is a good comp for McCollum here. You look at McCollum's last 4 games against Golden State, 20, 15, 25, and 15. I don't know if did I give out his line, 17.5. 17.5 minus 115. That's what I have.
Yeah, minus 120 right now.
Okay.
Yep.
Came down a little bit. I think he got 15 twice. I mean, he's almost there. And then 2 times he cleared it by a good margin against Golden State. I think this is a nice matchup for him. So I like CJ over 17.5.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I was looking at the point guards versus the Warriors. I went a different angle with CJ. I actually liked his assists. 5.5 assists in the 2 games this season. He's put up 6 and 7. So I got a bunch of different angles to go with this. One is you can do 5.5 assists at plus 126. Mm-hmm. Pretty nice value. I kind of like 4.5 a little bit better. Did you know? So here, I started to look at correlations, right? Yeah. So did you know that CJ McCollum, Zion Williamson, and Brandon Ingram have only played in 12 games together?
Wow.
Right? They've all been on the team for what? 2+ years now at this point?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Right. So they've only played in 12 games together. So I just looked at those 12 games. In those 12 games, when McCollum had 5 assists in 9 out of 12 games. And then I looked at Zion, because I think Zion's in a good spot tonight as well. Zion's had 20 points in 8 out of those 12 games. So you could put Zion 20 points and McCollum 5 assists together for plus 110. If you want to be a little bit more conservative, Zion's had 18 points in 9 out of the 12 games. So instead of 8 out of 12, you get 9 out of 12. And you can put that together with McCollum 5 assists for minus 105. So nice. Zion seems to be more consistent in scoring than Ingram. That's why I went with him.
Yeah.
But that was the parlay I went on this. But it was kind of based around McCollum getting probably 5 assists tonight. I like that.
I like that. Zion is he hasn't gotten there yet this season, but I can see him getting there tonight. He's so efficient offensively. He's just it's fun when he's out there. It's just a matter of him staying out there.
He's got. What do you mean he hasn't gotten there on points?
Yeah, right.
He hasn't hit his line, but the alted down line he's gotten.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, 23.
Yeah, I thought that's why I thought he'll have a good night tonight, but 25.5 points seemed a little high for Zion. So take him down to 20. I think look at that. He's hit that in 9 of his last 10 or whatever that is there.
Nice.
So yeah,
very nice.
All right, cool. What about on the Warrior side? You got anything over there?
Wait, I have 2 more on the Pelicans side.
Really?
Yeah. So another nice matchup you have here is Golden State is last. So meaning the best matchup for rebounding bigs, and 28th against playmaking bigs. So those both fit the profile of Mr. Jonas Valanciunas. So I like his RA here, 11.5 RA, minus 125. You look at his last 2 games against Golden State, he had 14 and 15. And then that's pretty nice. A lot of green there. And the reason, so I'm just run through some of the bigs that have played Golden State so far to see where we got these nice matchups from. Sabonis, 18 rebounds, 7 assists. Nurkic, 14 rebounds, 3 assists. Şengün, 5 rebounds, 7 assists. Jabari Smith, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. Kevin Durant, 11 rebounds, 3 assists. So those are 5 bigs, all crushing that RA line in a beautiful spot for Joe Val here. What do you think?
Yeah, I saw that as well. I didn't play it because of the Rockets game. I wasn't really looking at assists. I was just looking at rebounds. So I noticed Şengün only had, what'd you say, 5, 6 rebounds, something like that?
Only 5 rebounds, but he had 7 assists.
7 assists. So when you put those 2 together, it kind of makes it a little nicer. But I did like, you got Sabonis and you got Nurkic. You can't, if you were to name which 2 players have the same game as Joe Val, it's probably Nurk and Sabonis. I mean, Sabonis is a better player than Joe Val, but they have very similar games, like passing centers that are big and can rebound the ball. So those guys both crushed. I wouldn't even look at that Rockets game because the Rockets are more of a distributed team. They don't have a pure center, I would say. And I think it's a great play. I think you can play rebounds or you can play RA. I think I like the RA better.
Yeah, and you click on just look at his assist against Golden State.
Oh man.
So it's a nice spot for him.
Yeah, it makes sense. If you don't have a pure center to guard, I mean, they do have Looney, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know how good of a defensive center Looney is. I mean, he's good rebounding center, but you got to imagine they're going to be collapsing a little bit on Jovel, and that's just going to leave all these other guys open. So
yeah, I think this is a nice one.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
All right, and then my last one, you have a nice matchup in terms of assists. Playmaking wings are in a nice matchup here. So I like Ingram over 5.5 assists. It's also plus money, plus 105. If you look at the playmaking wings that have played them already, Malik Monk, 6 assists, Devin Booker, 8 assists. He's cleared this in 16 of his last 19 games. Now, granted, yes, I know Zion was not there, so a little bit different. But CJ was still there and whatnot. So I think this is a nice spot. It is plus money at 105. If this does come down to 4.5, I really like it. But I still like it at 5.5 here.
Yeah, I mean, if you want, I think another angle, if you're afraid of the 6 assists, you could bring that down to 5 assists and pair it with 5 rebounds.
Yeah.
I mean,
nice.
I think Ingram.
5.
Yeah, I was looking at when I was looking at the Jovel rebounds, I kind of looked at Ingram too, because Ingram's big. And he can grab some boards as well. And Golden State is a great team to rebound against because probably 80% of their shots come from the 3-point line. So it's like they're not really in position to grab those offensive rebounds. So I think it's good. I think that might be a nice parlay to do.
Yeah, I like that. 5 for Ingram seems very doable.
It's so fun, like going through the NBA again. Like every day that we do this, we start looking at players, and I'm thinking back to like all these plays that we did last year. And that was definitely one. We often did the parlay of Ingram's rebounds and assists. So that's a good one.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Nice. What about Golden State? You got anything on that side?
I don't know.
Okay. No. Let's just see, just out of curiosity, what's out right now for Golden State. Well, there's a lot of props out, huh?
Yeah.
You got Clay, Wiggins. Yeah. All right. Anyway, we'll take a look at the Golden State side. We'll post anything that we find on that side. Again, we didn't really have time to find that one since it just came out. All right, let's move on to the night game. We got the Magic at the Lakers. Magic are 2-0 in the season, and the Lakers are 1-2. Lakers have had a tough schedule though, right? Like I wouldn't sleep on them. I think they, who did they play? They played Phoenix, Denver. They played Denver, and then they played the Kings, right? That's a tough 3. Lakers -2, total is 218.5. Again, I wouldn't. Are props out for LeBron on this game or
no? No Lakers props out yet.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that they're going to rest somebody. Like LeBron, they had this whole minutes restriction plan for LeBron to keep him under, what was it, 25, 28 minutes or something like that?
Yeah.
And that's gone out the window because they've been in a couple competitive games, right? They just played overtime last night. So I think he might sit. I wouldn't be surprised. Anyway, total's 218.5. What's good for you on the matchups here?
It is worth noting that the last time they played last season on March 19th, LeBron did sit in that game. So it's a good comp for, if you want to look at stuff from that game. I think it should shape up nicely because,
nice.
Yeah, everybody else did play. Obviously the roster is a little bit different, but all right, where should I start here? Let's start with Mr. Wendell Carter.
I knew you'd start there. You'd love Wendell.
I do love Wendell.
Go ahead. What do you like?
So over 11.5 points, -115. Lakers almost dead last, 29th in points by bigs who do their damage from mid-range, which is Mr. Carter. Some of the comps here: Jokic put up 29, KD 39, Sabonis 12. His last 2 games against the Lakers, he had 15 and 16 points. He's had 8 points in the 2 games to start the season. So I think they're going to look to try to get Wendell going in this game, since he's been held in check so far. It's a nice matchup for him. He's also, they're on 2 days rest. He's cleared this line in his last 4 or 5 on 2 days rest, averaging 16.8. Always like to see that. Always look at that stuff. So yeah, I think Wendell Carter over 11.5. You in?
I don't know. I don't know because
what's holding you back?
Wendell and his inability to stay in games is holding me back.
Fouls you don't like.
Yeah, he loves getting fouls, and if he is going up against AD, that concerns me a little bit.
Yeah.
But I'm just looking this season. He had 3 fouls in one game and 1 foul in the other, so maybe he's
not bad.
I mean, they did play. I'm trying to look at their 2023 data with a grain of salt, just because they've played Houston and Portland so far. So Lakers are definitely the best team that they're going to play. It makes sense. I mean, just look at the history. Look at his. The team is not that different than last year, and he cleared this line in 78% of games. And honestly, if you were to take that down to 11 even, he's cleared that in 86% of games. So you are basically just getting a buy low spot on a guy who has shot the ball. That's what I was just looking at. If you look at his last, the last couple of games,
Mm-hmm.
He shot the ball 10 times against Houston and 7 times against Portland.
Wow.
Right. That's a good amount. And he's gone, he had 4 free throw attempts against Portland, right? That's potentially 4 points right there. So the volume's there to get this. I just think he's just been inefficient so far. So seems like a good spot. And then if for some reason AD sits out, then this is a home run.
Yeah, for sure. Then, he's typically a guy we see at 14.5, right? 15.5, 16.5
really
points. Like that's usually where his line is. So this is
let's do it. Let's buck the trend with Wendell.
You got your Duke hat on and everything, all right?
I do.
Yeah.
That was for Cooper Flag though, not for Wendell.
Sorry.
All right, go ahead. Who else do you like in this game?
All right, I like my other boy, Franz Wagner.
Yes.
Over 4.5 rebounds, plus money, plus 116. Look at what these other wings have done again, rebounding wise against the Lakers. MPJ 12 boards, Monk 3, Kevin Huerter 7, Eric Gordon 2, Grayson Allen 6. That's some nice rebounding from the wing position here. He's cleared this line in 5 of his last 7 on 2 days rest. And in that game, last March 19th against the Lakers, he had 8 rebounds in that game with sans LeBron James.
Yeah, hard to really compare this Lakers team to last year's Lakers team, but I did notice that too. I wanted to play this. It seemed close, and I was a little afraid. Oddly enough,
that was the end of the season though. It was March 19th. I mean, they had Hachimura in that game. They had some of the pieces that they added after the deadline. So
a lot of the offseason additions that the Lakers have made, they aren't even really using right now, right?
I know.
So it's kind of weird. But they will tonight if LeBron sits out. No, this one was popping big time. I think Michael Porter he might have had 5 rebounds in the first quarter or something like that in the game against the
Sounds like him. Yeah.
So I think this is a good play. I was favoring Franz's points. I'm a little cautious about it because again he's played Houston and Portland.
Yeah.
But here's what I liked about what stood out to me from this year to last year. If we look at the 3-point attempts, right? Look what he's done in the first 2 games of the season. 7 3-point attempts against Houston and 9 3-point attempts against Portland, right? And last year he averaged 4.6 3-point attempts per game. So that's up significantly. So what I did was, you could play the 3-point line, but that's minus 146. So if you don't want to pay that juice, what I did look at is I set the filter on props.cash to 7 wrong one. 7 3-point attempts per game, right? And I look back to last year. Oh, got to reset that filter. 1 second. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Look at that. When he attempts 7 3-point attempts per game, he just absolutely crushes this line. So, I think he's good for the points as well. I would go 18.5 points for Franz tonight.
All right. Yeah, he's had 2 great games to start the season, right? He's looking pretty good.
Absolutely. Yeah, the shooting volume is up. And even if he only attempts 5 3-point attempts, he's got a 74% hit rate. One other take on Franz, which is probably a good one too. I kind of like him to get 2 turnovers tonight as well.
He's got the ball in his hands a lot.
He's got the ball in his hands a lot.
Yeah.
The first 2 games of the season, he's got 3 turnovers already. And they're going to be playing in LA. He tends to play better at home versus on the road. So I'd go with 2 turnovers as well. If once that starts coming out in other books, you can pair that with something else for a parlay.
Nice. All right.
Who else? Anybody else on the Magic?
I like Markelle Fultz over 1.5 steals and blocks plus 100. So combo guards against the Lakers so far this season, been getting lots of steals and blocks. KCP had 4 in that first game. Jordan Goodwin 2. Reggie Jackson had a steal. Christian Braun had a block. Jamal Murray had a block. I mean, those are guys that aren't doing getting a lot of blocks usually that are here. So 2 steal, whatever it is, 2 steals and no blocks, 1 steal and a block, whatever combination it is. Combo guards against the Lakers are 27th in blocks, 27th in steals. Great matchup here. He's done this in 4 of his last 5 on 2 days of rest. Against the Lakers last season, he had one game he had 4 steals and blocks. The other game he had 1. And then just this season, the first game he had 3 steals and blocks, none in the second game. So I think this shapes up nicely for Mr. Fultz.
Yeah, no, that's a really good spot. You got Russell on the other side, right?
Yeah.
Who D'Angelo Russell, who could easily give up 2 steals right there. And I just think more game script wise, the Lakers are coming off of an overtime loss in Sacramento. They have to travel back home, right? Like this is just set up for a very sloppy game. So
yeah,
I love that. I think that's a good one.
Thank you. I have one other guy that I'm targeting, but there's not lines out yet. This is a great spot for Cole Anthony here, and he's gotten off to a hot start to the season. Point guards have been crushing the Lakers, especially guys who do their damage from mid-range, which is Cole's game. 29th from point guards at short mid-range, 29th point guards from long mid-range. So I think I'm going to be waiting to see some Cole Anthony lines here. I see Suggs lines just came out, so hopefully Cole Anthony won't be too far behind. But,
okay,
that's all I got.
You would target what points or threes? Okay,
points.
Yeah. No, he's been great so far this year. Yeah. What about Banchero assists? I was kind of waiting for you to throw that one out. I don't know if the trends are the matchups are saying anything, but he's had 4 assists in both games. Past 4 assists in both games this year. You get that for -110.
It's probably good. I didn't look at the assists, but forwards in general have been getting shut down against the Lakers. You got that strong defense from AD and stuff. So, I mean, that kind of, if he's getting shut down offensively and he's got to pass out of, some good defense at only 3.5 assists, that could be a nice spot. But I didn't look into it extensively here.
Yeah, and if you just look at his field goal attempts against Houston, he only attempted 5 or 6 shots, and then against Portland, he attempted 12 shots. But that's relatively low compared to what he normally attempts. So I think some of the volume that Franz is taking is coming out of Paolo's pocket. But so I think assists might be good. If you're worried about 4.5, again, really good leg for a parlay would be to play Paolo at 3 assists. I think that's a pretty solid play right there in any game.
That is nice. I'm thinking also, I'm going back to your Franz 3-pointers. I might whip up like a Franz, bring the rebounds down to 4 and do like two threes and 4 rebounds. That might be very nice for Franz tonight.
Yeah, I mean the volume's there. He's shooting the ball like crazy. So so that could be nice. Any combination of those would be great.
Yeah.
All right. What else? Anything else?
That's all I got.
All right. Very good. Awesome to get both NFL and NBA in one pod, right?
Yes, that was fun. It's exciting to start to be able to make some sense of NBA and start seeing some matchups and good spots take shape here. So we're going to lock a few of these bets in. We'll get a couple of them up on X, and I think we're all due to make some money tonight. What do you say?
Yeah, let's do it. I'm tired of any negative units. We're winning units tonight.
That's for
sure.
Let's do it. All right, nice work.